This episode of Last Lap brings you the 4-2 Cup in association with Smarts for You Racing. Performance parts for Smarts.
Welcome to the Last Lap. We're here at Silverstone for the beginning of a brand new season and it looks to be the best yet. Let's get racing. I'm joined James and Alan. First of all, James, this is your creation with Paul.
It is, yes. We're on our 4th year now.
Wow.
We were meant to have a few more drivers out today, but one of our regular drivers had a little problem. He's had a hernia, and one of the others had a problem with a car, so he couldn't turn up. But no, we've got. Should we? The next race should have some more cars on the grid, without a doubt. So yeah, it's all good fun.
Have you found it very challenging over the last few years?
It is very challenging. It's just the stress of just getting everything going and keeping everybody happy. Even down here in the little cars, it's politics, as we all know with cars. So, but what we're really about is a friendly atmosphere and people to enjoy themselves and close racing, but just happy racing, if you know what I mean, without all the stigma that goes with it. So that's really what we're trying to do.
And Alan, how are you finding it?
Oh, not too bad. It's about learning the car at the moment. It's the first time out, first season for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So James and his team making me feel very welcome. Yeah. So I've just got to learn it all really. And there's a bit of problem with the car at the moment, just a little bit down on power, which means it's probably quite good to get to learn a little bit when it's down on power, just see how we go.
So do you have a racing background? What made you start racing?
I did karting when I was in my 20s. Loved doing that.
Yeah.
And then took a break when I had a family. But it's always kind of been a burning passion to go circuit racing. And so I thought, I saw these guys at the Autosport show in January this year. It looked great. So
is that when you decided in January?
Yeah.
It's been a few months.
Yeah, it's no time at all. It's all happened really quickly. It's always like, I really want to do that. And then, I think, well, I could actually do that. And my family's been really supportive. Yeah. And here I am, first race meeting. So really enjoying it.
And James, is that lovely knowing that a few months ago, Alan then decided, let's go and start racing?
That's the whole thing. What I've done is really to try to get people to enjoy a cheap form of motorsport, which it is. The cars are unfortunately on this occasion generally are very reliable. We've done 24-hour races in them. We've done, no problems at all, and they really are a good, because they're a road car. They're just bulletproof, to be fair. Mechanically, you have your odd little technical issues, but no, it's just really about getting people to enjoy everything, and that's the whole thing. We try to keep everyone together so everyone knows each other, so they've got respect for each other on the track. Because there's plenty of room out there, and they're only a small car, so we try to keep bump free as well, which always helps. Yeah. Not so good for the spectators because they like a little.
Kind of true.
But yeah, no. So that's really what we're about. Just keep it nice and cheap and affordable for everybody, and a nice atmosphere.
Paul, you are pretty much the man behind this championship. What was the reason behind starting it up?
Well, me and James raced smart cars, not smart cars, we raced in brick car years ago, back in 2002, and then we had a break because the money got really, really big, and we decided what could we do, and then smart cars popped along. James had a road one and we decided it looked like good fun. Yeah. So we got a few, built them, and then started racing them. That was it really.
What's been the most challenging aspect? Because it's very, very tough to run your own championship.
The biggest challenge at first was obviously keep them on 4 wheels. Because we tend to overgrip the car, which was not good. So we completely changed the geometry of the car, made it a lot lower. Spent a whole year basically playing with parts and getting the parts right, brakes, everything else. That was tough. And then obviously what else is tough is keep promoting it and pushing it and trying to get the amount of people in the car.
Yeah, and you seem to be attracting, people that come back because they say how fun it is. Is that important to you?
Yes, definitely. I mean, there's no point in doing it if it's not fun. I mean, they're a challenging little car to drive, and I think when we first come out, especially when we raced with brick car, we got people laughing. I was laughing at us all the time, oh, what you doing with them silly things? And then we had quite a few people test them, back to Paul O'Neill, he tested it, people like that. And actually got out very surprised what a awkward little car they are to drive and how fun they are. So it's all relation to speed. And at the end of the day, if you're all pretty much together, you're having a battle and you're racing, whereas you're in brick car and stuff like that, and you've got such speed differences there, you know, it's about checkbook racing, whereas this is not. This is about who can drive.
Well, what goes on underneath the smart cars? It's a 1000cc racing engine producing around about 130 brake horsepower, so plenty of that to play with. Standard body, but of course the regular racing amendments made. Full race suspension, safety features, racing harness, racing seat, brakes uprated, and that brings us here out onto the circuit where pole position today is occupied by Paul Bates, Jake Jackson alongside. Row 2, Ashley Craig and Martin Clatworthy, Alan Palmer and James Palmer on row 3, and Mark Bloomfield lining up on row 4. Now, as you can see, the Smarts are sharing the grid, and we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get into the races. But we're looking at Alan Palmer in red, who's got our onboard camera, our in-car camera, and he's coming around Woodcote, getting ready for the start of the first race of the 2014 season for Smarts. And he was passed very quickly there by James Palmer in the Spacewise car. So Palmer in white goes through. Here's Alan Palmer again. It was a great start out front by Paul Bates in the Stars and Stripes livery car. Mark Bloomfield in blue at the moment at the back of the field, but it's Paul Bates who's leading them around Beckett's for the first time, on board with Alan Palmer. You can see right in the traffic, so as a newcomer to racing, probably going to be a little bit of a nervous moment for him, and I guess some more when the other cars come through, because the grid, because of numbers, it's a really good initiative. The club that organised today's meeting, the British Racing and Sports Car, and that's why you're going to get nervous, because some of the saloons and sports cars, they're running on obviously more power, and taking a spin like that, it's these guys have got to manage to deal with that. But at the moment, we're looking at the battle for the lead. Ashley Craig in the black G&M car, chasing the race leader, Paul Bates, who set the pole position time, and in third place, the second of the two black smart cars, is Jake Jackson. It's great to see Jake back again. He was one of the front runners in 2012, and he's really starting to put the pressure on Ashley Craig. Both of those two youngsters looks up the inside to try and take second position. He goes through, so a wonderful move. Jake Jackson, he actually came back to Smarts at Brands Hatch last year, won the second race of our Brands Hatch meeting from James Palmer, with David Nash in third place, Jake getting the fastest lap as well. So he got back in as Alan Palmer is passed by Mark Bloomfield. You can see Mark's got the new driver insignia on the back of the car, the yellow square with the black cross, which is a big help, particularly for the saloon and sports car drivers. They'll know when they're coming up on a driver who hasn't perhaps got as much experience. You do have to complete a race driver's test. So treble one is Martin Clatworthy, starting to put a bit of pressure on Ashley Craig, back down in third position. Craig and Jackson, both very, very capable drivers. Ashley Craig, an ex-Ginetta Junior driver. I remember commentating on him in the Ginetta Juniors. So it's Bates, Craig and Jackson as they cross the line. Now, as the faster saloon and sports cars go across the line, as we say, the race format is that the Smarts can have their own grid. There's Alan Palmer again, at the moment in 7th position. I think enjoying his race here. Ashley Craig back down in third place. Martin Clatworthy in treble one. The white car trying to close down on them as well. Logistically, for the organising club, a good idea to put various championships together on the grid and give everybody their track time. They'll get 20 minutes of racing, which should equate to 15 15 laps by my calculations for the Smarts. So Paul Bates still out front, the JC Motorhomes car. Paul based in Romford. So Bates has got a little bit of a lead. You can see the some of the faster cars coming through. And across the line we go. It is Jake Jackson second, Ashley Craig in third place. Martin Clatworthy still in fourth, and you can see still in touch with the lead trio, so not too bad. Lap times edging up towards 70 miles an hour on this damp circuit. There is a drying line. Blue flags being waved by the marshals just to make the Smarts aware that there are other cars coming through. Here's Martin Bloomfield. He crosses the line. Martin reels off another lap, a 1 minute 30 lap for him, so he improved on the qualifying time, did a 1:32 in qualies, so the lap time's coming down for him, which is good. But still out front, Paul Bates having a good race out of the Brooklands Nuffield complex and through Woodcote. Now if we look back to last year, you might remember the smart car racing that we had last year from Rockingham and Snetterton, where we had some of the European visitors over, and of course that's another great attraction for this championship for people, that you get the opportunity to go abroad. And the 24-hour race, which is usually held abroad, you heard the guys talking about that, so plenty of opportunities to race these cars throughout Europe. Welcome back to Silverstone for the first race of the 2014 4-2 Cup, the Smarts for You Racing Championship. We're looking there at car number 69, Mark Bloomfield, running at the moment in 6th position. The newcomer enjoying his racing, taking a nice wide sweep around Copse Corner. Here's the view from our other newcomer, Alan Palmer. You can see having to be very much aware of the cars from the Sports and Saloon Championship. This is the battle for third place. Ashley Craig in the black car ahead of Martin Clatworthy. Martin, the Bristolian driver, starting to put the pressure on. Ashley Craig, based in Dorset, and those two really getting involved. You can see the difficulty. They have to be aware of the traffic that's coming up on them while sorting out their own battle. Mark Bloomfield at the moment on his own. Alan Palmer not too far behind, so Alan's going to try and just focus on this car in front, see if he can get his lap times down. There's a little bit of a differential between the two at the moment, and Mark Bloomfield, the quicker of the two drivers, comes through Woodcote. If we look back, there's a fair old gap actually at the moment, back to Alan Palmer, that's developed. But in fact the race leader is well ahead. You can see just behind these cars Paul Bates in the Stars and Stripes livery car coming through and closing up on Alan Palmer. Past goes Ashley Craig, past Alan Palmer, so he puts a lap on his smart colleague. Martin Clatworthy goes through. He's running in 4th place at the moment, so the newcomers goodness me, that Escort going past at a fair old rate of knots, and Alan Palmer at the moment sticking to the inside. Of course it's difficult for a newcomer when you've got vastly quicker cars out on track. It's a job to know where to place your cars in some of the corners. They're catching up with Mark Bloomfield, but we've got a good battle for the lead here, and it's Paul Bates still there at the moment. Jake Jackson has stayed with him for much of it and is closing in, but Jake's got to look in his mirrors. The Porsche's going to go, I think, around the outside line. Well, they've all paid for their track time here, so the smart guys are perfectly entitled to have their race. The Porsche threads its way through the inside, and the battle for the lead of the smart cars is going to continue. This is a great scrap. There's Mark Bloomfield, pulls out wide. Paul Bates goes through. Passed by a car from the Sports and Saloons. Jake Jackson goes past his colleague as well. It looks like Paul Bates has got things under control at the moment. He's pulled out a little bit of a gap whilst they were threading their way through the back markers. There's Ashley Craig, who's third. Not that far behind, and Martin Clatworthy keeping him honest as well. Ashley Craig best lap in the 1:19s. Martin Clatworthy a tad slower on his best lap. So Alan Palmer goes through. Here is James Palmer in car number 6, the 43-year-old. First look at James during the race, but the battle for the lead still goes on, and we've got a challenge. Jake Jackson thinks about looking down the inside, down the Wellington straight into Brooklands. Left-hander, and you can see Bates goes wide, and this is going to make Jackson have to look right the way round the outside, but he's got some good momentum out of Luffield. Onto Woodcourt and takes the lead. What a great manoeuvre that was by Jake Jackson. And it remains to be seen whether there can be a fight back here from Paul Bates, who goes back on the inside. This is great smart car racing. We had a super race at Snetterton last year, which resulted in a very close photo finish. And it looks like we could have the same today. Bates is back up the inside and reclaims the lead. The pole position man back in front are these two, but Jackson switches back on the inside and repasses as they head down towards Maggots. We'll see them emerge at Beckett's. Here they come. Jackson's back in the lead, out of Maggots into Beckett's. Wide line in for Paul Bates. Quick check on how the others are doing. The great news is that all 7 cars are still running, so that underlines the point that was being made in the interviews at the start of the programme. These cars are fun to drive, but they're also very reliable. Battle on still for the lead. Jake Jackson out front, Paul Bates in second position. Ashley Craig has the fastest lap of the race. He's running in third, but he's dropped a little bit of ground. Might have been affected by some of the lappery of the Sports and Saloon cars, to be fair to him, but he knows he's got the pace to carry forward into race 2. Paul Bates working hard to try and close in. Again, they're mindful of the faster cars coming through, but now Bates comes offline. Really had a very good exit out of Woodcourt, goes through, back on the inside. Now the point that he was in front is the start-finish line, so if he can maintain that to the flag, and what we think is going to be a 15-lap race for the Smarts, 20-minute timed race, then he'll be doing very well indeed. Here's James Palmer, who manages to put a lap on Alan Palmer, so he's gone through. James Palmer, based in Woodford Green in Essex, managing director of his own garage. And Alan Palmer's going to have a look, see if he can unlap himself for a moment. It looked like he did. And that's the thing, you see, as a newcomer, you'll learn if the faster cars go past you in the early stages of the race, you can learn from watching them up ahead. And if you get into the situation where you lap, you can follow the lines and learn a little bit. And it really did look then as if he'd picked up a few tips, because he was, I think, going to try and challenge to unlap himself. But he's dropped back a little bit for the moment, but he's still enjoying his race in 7th position. And it's all about bringing the car home in one piece here and improving the lap times over the course of the meeting. Back with the race leaders though, Paul Bates still there. Second position is Jake Jackson. They've traded a couple of times already, and Jackson looks like he's starting to try and mount another attack. It's a good few lengths back, but he's working hard at it. There's Mark Bloomfield still in 6th position, but back with the leaders. And Bates out front. Through goes Ashley Craig in the G&M car, and then Martin Clatworthy, who's in 4th place. Blue flag still being waved, so easy place for the faster cars to pass going down the Wellington straight. Might get a little bit more complicated for the Smarts when they come in and start using the twists and turns, because first of all you're going round to the left, then you've got to come over to the right. So if the advice for a back marker is stay on the outside, that's the inside for the preceding corner, so it can get complicated for back markers where you've got this multi-class racing. And it's getting complicated now because the battle's on for the lead again. Jake Jackson challenging hard. and comes to the inside line at Woodcote. Side by side, they're on to the last lap, but Paul Bates has still got the lead. And is he going to be able to hang on to it here? Remember, Ashley Craig has the fastest lap. He's back in third position. But it's Paul Bates in the 44 who leads on this one, runs over the curbs. Or gets a wheel on the curbs. He's not infringing the track limits. There's the third place car. Ashley Craig in third is going to add another podium to his cannon. Remember, he took a podium last year at Rockingham, took fastest lap at Snetterton as well. Onto his last lap goes Mark Bloomfield in the blue car, but down the Wellington Straight for the last time. Now this is where Jake Jackson tends to close up. He's got that car handling on rails through the twisty parts into Luffield. He's taking the wide line. He's going to try and set himself up for a run on Paul Bates at the flag, and he's closing in. He's going up the inside. Bates is leaving room. It's going to be a run to the flag. It's Paul Bates out front at the moment. Here they come up across the line, and Jackson gets it. Jake Jackson takes the win from Paul Bates. Those two have had a superb race. Jackson and Bates. Ashley Craig will take third. Here is Ashley, who's got the fastest lap of the race as well. Ashley Craig doing that on the last lap of the race. Great news for him. 1 minute 19.313. Nearly 75 miles an hour. But here's the result. Jake Jackson from Paul Bates. Ashley Craig in third. Martin Claxworthy fourth from James Palmer. Mark Bloomfield in sixth. And Alan Palmer in seventh position, completing the runners and completing his first race.
Jake, well, first of all, you took time out from racing the smart cars, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I went to, because I was racing with Team Tockwith Motorsports, they wanted me to go up into GT cars, but unfortunately I only did 2 race weekends, but one in the Aero Pack, which we're competing at the back of the grid in this one, at this weekend. And then I did a live TV race day, and I came first in the race. And then the second race later that day, fortunately I developed a little bit of a problem with the car, but other than that it was good fun.
Brilliant. And now you're back, you're racing in this championship.
The good thing about the Smarts is that because they're all box standard, they you can slipstream and then go past, and then you can actually overtake on the corners, go side by side most of the time, so it's nice and close and clean most of the time.
And the weather conditions today have not been that good, but obviously hasn't affected you because you won your race. So how did you find the weather conditions here?
A bit confusing because you think it's going to rain, but it's not. So it's quite hard to decide whether to go for it and then be careful when it does rain, or be cautious and then pounce when it rains, so to speak.
Yeah. Do you enjoy racing here at Silverstone?
I do enjoy racing here at Silverstone, but my favourite track is Brands Hatch.
Ah, and why is it Brands Hatch?
I got my first podium and my first win there back in 2011 in these cars as well.
Yeah, I can see why it's your favourite. Well, look, thank you and good luck later on.
Thank you very much.
Ashley, you raced last year for the smart cars.
Yep.
Was that your first year?
It was, yeah. We did one race previous on that, just at the end of the season, but last year was the proper full year.
Yeah, and how did you find it?
It was okay. We had a few problems throughout the year. When we went to Zolder, there was an engine problem and a couple other problems, but throughout the year it was not too bad.
And coming into a race like this, you're at Silverstone, the weather it's pretty bad. It's quite slippery. Yeah, it's slippery out there. Does that daunt you? Do you find that quite challenging?
You just got to drive to the conditions, really, so you know that it's in the air. You just got to feel it when you're on the track, see how it is, and just push to as fast as you can go, really.
And why smart cars? Why do you enjoy racing in them so much?
They're pretty good. It's a fairly cheap series to run in. Everyone's fun and friendly, so that's the main reason.
And has being a driver something you've always wanted to be? Is this a lifelong ambition?
I've raced karts since I was 8 years old, up to about 15, and then went into Janettas from 15 to 17.
Yeah.
And then had a couple of years out through uni and finances.
So where would you like to see your racing career go? Is it something you want to be 100% committed to again?
We'll just have to wait and see on sponsorship and things like that, but it'll be pretty good. Obviously, it's anyone's dream, but maybe touring cars.
Yeah.
as the next step, you know, it's sort of 5 years' time. But it's all about the finances, really, and if you can get companies to commit, and things like that. So.
Well, tell us about your sponsors.
We've got G&M on board, which sponsor us with a car and other bits and pieces, which is mega. They sell full range of smart cars and things like that. And my dad as well, BD Craig Electrical, does a lot of electrical work for lots of different outlets and other companies like that. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, look, you've got to go racing, so good luck, and hopefully I'll be speaking to you at the end.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope so.
Mark, well, this is your first season in Smart Cars?
It is, yeah. First time out today. Had the cars for a couple of years, but finally got my race licence and first race today.
Wow. Well, have you got a racing background? Is this something you've always wanted to do?
No, spent 4 years following James around, helping repair his cars and doing things in the pit area. I said bought the cars 2 years ago.
Do you have a background with Smart Cars?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I run my own smart car business, Fudge Smart Men's buys, sells and repairs smart cars. And yeah, we needed to get into this really, bit of fun.
Yeah. And how are you finding it now? If you had your first race earlier on today, were you nervous?
I was, yeah. I was very nervous at the start, especially being a novice with the faster cars out there, but it's good fun. I really enjoyed it.
Did you find anything challenging? What was the most challenging part of today so far?
Just keeping an eye on what everybody else was doing really, and making sure I wasn't in people's way. I know it's not really the thing to do, but yeah, just to make sure that I wasn't in people's way. But coming second from last in the last race in a slower car, I mean, I'm 40 brake horsepower less than the 451s, and a considerable weight difference as well. So yeah, not to finish last was a bit of a result really.
And what's it like racing here at Silverstone?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Again, it was a little bit daunting to race here. I've done track days at different tracks, but never this track. So, but yeah, it's been good.
Brilliant. Well, look, good luck for the next race, and hopefully I'll be chatting to you at the podiums.
Hopefully. Cheers.
Looking forward to this championship, this series, this season. What are you hoping for?
Well, hoping to, by the end of the year, it would be nice to have 15 cars on the grid. And look to moving for next year, which was always a 5-year plan anyway, that we can then run our own standalone grids with our own cars. Maybe get back into Europe, which we had a little fling with the Belgians. We can go back out there with the 2CVs, which we've done stuff before. We've got 9 hour at the end of the year, and I'd like to get these between 2 endurance maybe next year and the year after. So that's the plan.
Well, look, good luck with this championship, and I just, yeah, I've been won over by how approachable and friendly everyone is here, so thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
Well, if you'd like to be a part of the plan to join the 4-2 Cup, you can check out the website www.smarts4uracing.com. We look forward to your visit. And on to our second race of the season, the grid being decided by the race results from the first outing for the cars, and that of course places Jake Jackson on pole position. We're looking at Paul Bates, who lines up second. There's Ashley Craig in 12. Martin Clatworthy in treble 1 is 4th on the grid. Then James Palmer. Mark Bloomfield on the outside of row 3. The grid completed by Alan Palmer. 20 minutes of smart car action about to get underway. We're on board again with Alan Palmer, ready for our second start. You can see Mark Bloomfield in blue on the inside. James Palmer and Martin Clatworthy there as well. They've got to share the grid with the Arrow Pack Championship runners once again. So it's going to have to be very good driver awareness throughout the 20 minutes. And away we go. It's a very good start indeed. You can see by Jake Jackson, the first of the black and orange Smarts gets away in lead position. Ashley Craig goes well. Paul Bates is actually down to 4th place. Well, there's the Spacewise car you saw as well of James Palmer in the mix. Mark Bloomfield has been passed by Alan Palmer. But up front, as you can see, Paul Bates back in 4th position, coming under pressure from James Palmer in the Spacewise car. Martin Clatworthy ahead of him as well. He comes offline, has a look down the inside out of Beckett. It's on board with Alan Palmer again. Now Palmer's going to be looking in his mirrors to see where Mark Bloomfield is. We saw Bloomfield pass him earlier on in the race. A little bit of smoke coming off the car of Paul Bates. Now, is that going to be a problem? Certainly, it's very early in the race for a problem to manifest itself. Martin Clatworthy is behind him, so he's made up one position after a not so great start. Comes out of Woodcote, but the race lead Jake Jackson away. It is a problem. He pulls over. Well, shame he couldn't have got the car maybe into the pits to have a little diagnostic visit, but he's going to try and soldier around another lap. It's a long way round. It's 1.6 miles for the car to do. Ashley Craig runs well over the curves. So the clerk of the course might be looking at that. Space-wise car comes across, and Paul Bates is going to try and nurse the car around into the pits, but Ashley Craig chasing in second place. There is Martin Clatworthy in third position. So around Beckett's they go, back with Alan Palmer. Alan enjoying his drive, and onto the main straight once again. Here is Martin Clatworthy running in third position at the moment, so on for a potential podium here. This could be quite good, but we've still got a fair old way to go. You can see he's losing a little bit of ground on the two leaders at the moment. Jake Jackson getting away. Both first and second have Ginetta in common, as you heard Ashley Craig saying that he ran in the Ginetta Championship from age 14, one of the 3 junior championships that currently runs in the UK. There's Ashley going out of shot. Big gap back now to third place. So Martin Clatworthy kept Ashley Craig honest for much of the first race, to be fair. Down behind them, James Palmer in the white car with the stripes on the bonnet. That's the Spacewise entered car. So there is James going through, and then down behind them it's Mark Bloomfield and Alan Palmer completing things. Sadly, we have had the retirement of Paul Bates, so a major shame for the man who took second position in race number 1. Yes, Martin Clatworthy, the Bristolian, in the Ski St Martin entered car. Well, podium isn't going to be a bad result for him if he can hang on to it. So normally the reliability of these machines absolutely top dollar. Here's Jackson, who was talking about having raced in the championship that these cars are sharing the grid with, the track with this weekend, the Arapac Championship, and in there he raced a Ginetta G50. So both he and Ashley Craig have got Ginetta in common. It's the car that he raced, but the Kent-based driver is starting to pull away. It's one of the Sportsman Saloons manages to get between first and second position, dives to the inside. The smart guys doing what they need to do when the traffic's coming through, keeping to the outside of the circuit, out of harm's way. Mark Bloomfield had a good start. He's got up into 5th position. I was just having a quick look back to see whether Alan Palmer was within sight of him, but he wasn't as they came around the corner. Here is Martin Clatworthy. Ashley Craig second position in the G&M car. Down into Brooklands again. Probably a good time to start to see how lap times are panning out. Jake Jackson and Ashley Craig both in the 1:19s at the moment. So comparable lap times, but the Crowborough-based driver has managed to get his head down. He's starting to pull away. There's the second place car. You can see that he's still within sight, but Jake Jackson in car number 9 just lapping consistently, and he's just putting those few tenths per lap ahead. He's putting the lap times in and pulling away bit by bit, lap by lap, and opening up a fair bit of a lead. Out of Maggots into Beckett's again. Now, conditions here, we think, I'm just looking at the lap times from race number 1. Jake Jackson's best lap time was a 1:19. And the lap times here are around about a second faster. And that, I think, is probably going to equate to the possibility of an extra lap. They completed 15 laps in the 20 minutes in race number 1. And here in race 2, I think we're looking at maybe 16 laps for the lead drivers. So there is Ashley Craig giving chase as best he can. Still keeping in touch with the race leader. Ashley Craig's best lap so far, a 1:19.4 average speed as we said in race number 1, they're edging up towards 75 miles an hour, which is quick enough for anybody. Back with Mark Bloomfield running in 5th place. And Mark's got his lap times down to, he's actually doing 1:27, so there is a bit of a differential. You heard him talking about the difference in cars earlier on. Here is James Palmer in car number 6, 4th place in class at the moment. Best lap of a 1:28 at the moment. He's still working hard. Alan Palmer, newcomer to racing, having done a 1:34. He'll be looking to improve throughout the rest of this race. Welcome back to Silverstone, the second race of the 2014 season. The race leader for the Smarts, Jake Jackson, is up amongst the back markers within his own class now. Alan Palmer having been passed in red. There is Alan. Closing up on him now is Ashley Craig, who's running second in the race. The gap's about 6 seconds now between the race leader and second position. Here's Mark Bloomfield. He's running in 5th place. Now, if you've just joined us, you won't know that Paul Bates, who was second in the first race of the day and took pole position, had a mechanical problem and has retired his car, completing just 2 laps of the circuit, which is a great shame. Normally these cars 100% reliable, but he was pushing hard, certainly big push hard, all the way through race 1 by Jake Jackson. Alan Palmer in, when you see it, the red car on circuit, our in-car footage giving us a very good idea of the capability of these machines, but also the much faster cars that they have to deal with. Alan's had a look in his mirrors there for faster cars. He's been able to take the curb on the inside at Copse Corner. So the fact that he's got the faster cars coming through, I think, are going to be compromising his ability to set faster lap times. Here's the 69 machine. Mark Bloomfield still in 5th place. Now he'll look in his mirrors and you can see he's got faster cars coming round, and he's got to decide whether he's got the opportunity to maybe pop out to the outside of the circuit to allow one of the faster cars on the inside or keep it tight. So there's a lot for the smart car drivers to do in these mixed grid races, multi-championship races. Well, he ticks off another lap. A 1:27.988 compares very favourably with the 1:35 that he did in qualifying. So the Fudge Sport driver, Fudge Sport based in Cambridge, and Mark based in Ipswich, has done a superb job over the course of the weekend, as has Alan Palmer. He started off with 1:34s in qualifying and he's got those lap times down to 1:27. Past him goes Martin Clatworthy in 3rd, and then the 3rd of the Smarts in shot. Here is James Palmer, who you can see has raced hard. He hasn't really been able to match Martin Clatworthy's lap times, but he's kept within arm's reach of him throughout the course of the race. So if there's any hint of a mistake from Martin Clatworthy, we could see James Palmer maybe take a podium. Back meanwhile to Jake Jackson, the race leader, who hasn't put a wheel wrong. And it's double bubble for this guy because he's had to deal with the saloons and sports cars coming through. He's also had to lap some of his colleagues, which he's going to do now, past the 4th place car of Mark Bloomfield, who obligingly moves to the outside of the circuit. So really good track etiquette. There is camaraderie in the paddock. They're all based together, all the cars all in exactly the same place in the paddock as well, so you'll get to swap notes before, during, I was going to say swap notes after the race. So you probably share a few beers or something in the paddock bar afterwards here. You can see this is what the race leader has to deal with. We've got 2 of the saloons and sports cars going through, but he's looked in his mirrors, he's seen those, pull clear. Martin Clatworthy in treble 1. I'm wondering if James Palmer's closing in. He's on the inside line as one of the saloons goes through. Actually one of the Ford Racing Series cars going through. And here's the issue for Alan Palmer in red. He was passed on the outside there and he wants to get back out to the... He was passed on the inside but gets to the outside of the track, down into Copse Corner. So he really does have to be aware of those cars coming through. So he'll have learnt a lot of track etiquette this weekend. And that's what's being displayed by the race leader, who goes to the outside of the circuit at Luffield, and now on the run down towards Woodcote, pretty much at the moment picking his racing lines. He ticks off another lap. Really good healthy lead being built up at the moment. It's over 10 seconds between Jake Jackson and Ashley Craig. We haven't seen a huge amount of Ashley here, but he's still lapping. He's only a couple of tenths away from Jake Jackson's best time. Remember, Ashley Craig had the best lap there. It was actually just for going through Shot and into Copse, but the race leader out of Maggots, down in towards Beckett's again. The smoke signal from the car in front really alerting Jake Jackson to the fact there might be a problem which he might have to deal with at some stage. Doesn't come to anything on this occasion. Here's third and fourth. Martin Clatworthy on for his, I think, first podium in the smart cars at the moment. James Palmer is down behind him. James was a podium finisher in race 2 at Snetterton last year and came through to win our third race. But he's in fourth position here, runs a little wide, pulls it all back on track. Still trying to get onto the podium here. You might remember the races last year where Theo Berg came over from the continent and won quite a few races, took a hat-trick at Rockingham. Ashley Craig getting onto the podium at Rockingham as we go back on board with Alan Palmer, who's doing a sterling job, and so too out front is Jake Jackson, who's got just over a mile and a half to go around Silverstone. The National Circuit, a superb venue for our first round of the season. Martin Clatworthy has now lapped Mark Bloomfield, and the Fudge Smart car looks like it's on its way to 5th position. Hugs the inside, looks in his mirrors, keeps it tight. The tendency here is to want to drift out, but that's really good etiquette again. Very respectful to the faster cars. He looks in his mirror, he sees the tracks clear behind him, and he can pull out back onto the racing line. Well, Jake Jackson's got the gap now. To very nearly, well, I was going to say nearly 20 seconds, it's actually 17 seconds on the split. Here he is, heading towards the checkered flag. Jake Jackson, it's going to be 3 wins on the bounce for him in smart cars. He won the last race of last year at Brands Hatch, and he's won the opening 2 here at Silverstone. It's a checkered flag. Jake Jackson wins the race. He takes fastest lap as well. Here's confirmation. Jackson from Ashley Craig, Martin Clatworthy in 3rd from James Palmer, Mark Bloomfield in 5th, and Alan Palmer grabs another race finish as well. He finishes in 6th position.
Jake, congratulations again. How did you find that race?
It was quite hard at the start, but it was quite easy after that because I just followed the big cars, and then when they came round to lap us on lap 3, everyone else seemed to have got caught up slowing down, so I speeded up by trying to keep with them.
Wow, so it's all about strategy. How does it feel right now after having such a successful day?
It feels absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I can't say anything else really.
And going forward for the next race, are you worried you're going to be overconfident, or do you have to forget this win and then just focus and start fresh for the next one?
I always start from fresh, but I always keep the win with me, and then always just makes me feel a bit more confident. Yeah. I don't like to have a lot of confidence because obviously that could be a bad thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, look, congratulations. That really suits you. And we'll see you at the next race.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. 2nd. You're very calm, cool and collective right now. How did you find it out?
Yeah, it was alright. Yeah, the faster cars were quite... they're easy when they're coming past from the other series. But no, it was alright. 2nd's good.
Yeah.
Not first, but...
So is that what it is right now for you? Because you didn't get that first, you feel that you're slightly disappointed?
There's a couple of problems with the car.
Right.
So if they weren't there, it could have been a different story, but...
What problems have you got with the car?
It goes into limp mode,
Okay.
which is where it goes into safe mode, basically, to save the engine from any detonation or anything. So unfortunately it was in that quite a lot.
Do you find the conditions out there hindered you slightly? It's very slippery.
It wasn't too bad. There's only very light rain, so it rarely settled. There's a lot of cars going past, so going around the track, so it dried it up pretty quick, really.
So moving forward onto the next race, what preparation and things do you need to do behind the scenes now with the car?
We'll get the car back, strip parts of it down, check everything, spanner check the whole car, give it a good clean, maybe replace some sponsor logos for new ones where the tyre marks have gone on from tyre robbing. But yeah, look forward to the next one and see how we go.
Brilliant. Well, look, well done again, and see you at the next race.
Good, thank you very much. See you there.
Well, congratulations, third. How did you find that race?
Very exciting, yes, and it was worth. I flew back for this weekend from France to actually race here, so to come third, and then.
Do you live in France? Were you on holiday?
I run a ski chalet in the French Alps, so I just popped back.
As you do.
As you do, raced, and yeah, fantastic.
Wow. And are you going to be doing that commute for every?
No. I'm coming back for Brands Hatch, and then I'll stay in the UK then and do the rest of the ones with Smart Free Racing. It's fantastic atmosphere, really nice people. Yeah. Social side of it is really.
And is that why you race? So how did you discover this championship?
I was looking to buy myself a new smart car, and I went on a website and I noticed the car for sale. So I rang these guys up and
that easy.
I bought the car. This is the third season, and I really enjoy it. And there's such nice people. It's really good fun.
What's your favourite track to race on?
I think this circuit here, Silverstone.
Because it's Silverstone.
Because it's Silverstone, yeah. I mean, I used to come here when I was small.
Yeah, it must feel amazing then to know that you're on there. You've just come third on Silverstone.
Yeah, feels fine.
That's brilliant. Well, look, congratulations, and I'm a little bit jealous that you've got to go back now to France. So thank you.
Yeah, we have beautiful blue skies there and lovely sun shining.
Damn him.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Well, that's it for us here from a lovely long weekend at Silverstone. Be sure you join us next time for another The Last Lap.
Join us next time. We're at Brands Hatch for the Quaife Motorsport News Saloon Championship with the Cannons Tin Tops and the Quaife Intermarks. It's going to be a great meeting. Join us then.